Hey, what is up everyone? This is Private Mittens and I'm going to be continuing my series I'd like to see return. As you can tell by the video, this is going to be the Turok series. After Devil did his gaming memories of Turok, I thought, I'll do my throwback series, or games I'd like to see return, sorry. So yeah, before we get started, for anyone that doesn't know, Turok is a first-person shooter franchise based off the 1950s comics with the same name. So yeah, let us begin. Turok 1 was released in 1997 by Iguana Entertainment and published by Acclaim for the Nintendo 64 and the PC and then the Game Boy. The Game Boy version is not worth mentioning here. The Metacritic score is 85%, and I honestly believe Turok is the best shooter of its generation for a console. Yes, that is saying that over Medal of Honor and GoldenEye 64. I honestly believe it's a better game. It's one of my favorite games, one of my favorite shooters of all time. Also re-released for Steam 2016, I believe. Or 17, can't be one of the two. So yeah, I'll get back to the Turok series when I go through the rest here. Turok 2 Seeds of Evil was released in 1998 for the 64, and then later 1999 for the PC. And then Turok was also released for the Game Boy Color. Once again, the color version has nothing to do with the main Turok series. It's its own spin-off. But you'll see a gif here where I say that all the Turok games that are handheld are terrible, which they are. But Turok Seeds of Evil 2, Turok 2 Seeds of Evil, sorry, is sitting on an 86% Metacritic, meaning it's the highest rated in the series, and it's more sci-fi than the first one was. It's actually more than most of them in the series. I'll get back to this, of course. So next we have Turok Rage Wars, which is the only Turok game I've actually never played. This had nothing to do with the main series. This was released for the 64 in 1999 in the Game Boy Color for 2000, which once again, the Game Boy Color shared no, similarities to the main console version. It actually hasn't got a Metacritic score, so I actually can't, say, what it's actually sitting on. It's the only Turok game I've never played, so I can't really say anything on that, guys. I have to move on here. So Turok 3, Shadows of Oblivion, released in 2000 for the 64, and then the Game Boy Color version. Once again, Game Boy Color version, nothing to do with the console version. I'm sounding like a broken record here. This game is sitting on a 77% Metacritic. This game was... it's sort of, to be completely fair, it was shit. It's the worst Turok game in my personal opinion. Besides the spin-off, I mean the main entry series, it's on a console. You know what I mean by that, of course. But I'll get back to some of that later. So, after that, we had the Turok Evolution release, which was released for the PS2, Xbox, GameCube, and the PC in 2002. And it was a reboot to the series. The first reboot, in fact. Now, the highest rated version is the GameCube version is actually slightly higher than the other versions for some reason. I don't know why. But they're all roughly sitting around the 70% Metacritic score, so yeah. If you ask me, Turok Evolution it's good. It's not great compared to the others, but it's its own thing and it's a reboot. It's not perfect though. It's fun for what it is, and you can pick it up next to nothing on any of those systems. But once again, get back to that. Then we get the last version ever released for the series, the second reboot of the series. This was just called Turok. This was the PS3, 360, and PC released in 2008. I actually bought the PC version first, and then bought it on PS3 when I got my PS3, because I actually thoroughly enjoyed this game. But this was developed by Propaganda Games and published by Touchstone Games, which I'll get to that in a minute. This is currently sitting at a 69% on Metacritic. Technically the lowest rated in the series. It has a review or a Metacritic score, not review, sorry, which I don't agree with. I think Turok 2008, we'll call it Turok 2008. Turok 2008, I think, is a really underrated game. Yes, it sort of went for the whole you know, marine thing, which was a bit of a change for the Turok series, but in a lot of ways it did a lot of things right, which I'll get to in a minute. So after that, we never got another Turok game. That was the final Turok game to ever be released, and that was 10 years ago, so yeah. Now, real quick before I forget, because I will forget, Touchstone is actually owned by Disney. Now that has got me thinking, has Disney got the rights to Turok? Which, if they do, God help Turok. But yeah. Now, back to the Turoks. I'll explain them now, but I don't want to spoil too much, so yeah. Turok 1, Dinosaur Hunter. Essentially, you go through different worlds and you kill soldiers, dinosaurs, that kind of stuff, right? Turok 2 was more along the lines of science fiction, even though the first was, of course. It was more alien-like as well, with dinosaurs, of course. Rage Wars, as I said, I've not played. Turok 3 Shadows of Oblivion copied 2 a lot of ways, which I didn't like the way it did that, unfortunately. Evolution went back to the first style, which I'll give Evolution this, at least when you started the game, and you're walking around, you know, this world, and you see these, you know, herbivore dinosaurs walking past you and that, it was really, really cool to see for that time, especially for like a mid-early PS2, Xbox, and GameCube game. Then we got Turok, which, as I just stated there, I think it's a very underrated game. Not the best in the series, of course. But I honestly... See, me and Devil don't agree on everything. Of course we don't. He believes this game wasn't that good. I believe this game was far superior to a lot of other games on the market at the time. Especially because it was one of the best looking games to use the Unreal Engine. And honestly, I think it handled a lot of things well. For example, the T-Rex was fantastic. I actually like the combat. Yeah. But I won't be going across the cancelled games here. I'll just be talking about the main series, of course. But what I'd like to see with Turok, I know this is a bit of a cop-out because the last two were what I'm about to say, but I'd like to see Turok be rebooted. Plain and simple. That's what is actually needs to be done to the series. Now, there may be some spoilers here for some of the Turoks if you've not played them, so I'm just fair warning to you. What I would like to see Turok do is a mixture of Turok, the first one, some of Turok 2008, we're just going to call it Turok 2008, and some mixture of Evolution and Seeds of Evil put in there. How about it sticks to the whole, you know, it goes from multi-unit... Actually, no, I got a better idea, actually. I'll go on like a fear rant like I did when I did my fear one. How about Turok 2008 style, where it's a different planet, and it's got the marine thing, but Turok, you know, say for instance, Turok's not a part of the Marines, like he can be, he can live on that planet. You know, say for instance, he lives on that planet, it's all peaceful, you know, that kind of shit. Marines arrive, and they cause, you know, a big stir, and they open, like, say, a portal, which dinosaurs come into Turok's land, and Turok has to fight both off, you know, the Marines and the dinosaurs, excuse me. Or if they can, which I don't think they will, throw in a bit of Dino Riders where like the Marines actually arm up the dinosaurs as well, you know, like with machine guns and rocket launchers and shit. That would be amazing. Give it that Turok feel, Evolution feel. Like for example, as I said, if it's like a different planet and Turok's, you know, just living peacefully with his tribes and all that there, you just go hunting against, you know, like creatures on this planet, you know, like docile creatures like, you know, birds and shit like that there. And then these Marines arrive and like, you know, what the hell's going on? You're, you know, bow and arrow, you know, you've got your tomahawk, that there. And, you know, he, as I said, the dinosaurs come through, and him and his tribes people have to, you know, fight for survival. For example, him and his, you know, ones that he, you know, fights with will pick up guns off the Marines and, you know, be like, you know, oh yeah, let's use these. You know, you can be stuff like that there and have like the start, as I said, for Evolution. where it's awe-inspiring. It shows you this world that Turok lives in. Not like before we say anything. No, not an open world game. I do not fucking want an open world game. Make it not so much as linear. Make it like Crisis 3, the way it was with its, you know, branching sort of, not open world, but the way it was with thing. And just make it a really long story. No multiplayer, just a really long story along the lines of what Wolfenstein, you know, New Order did. But yeah, that's what I'd like to see, you know, like, as I said, if they can, Dino Riders kind of thing, but, you know, that's that's what I'd like to see, to be completely honest. Who would I like to see make this game? Now, I would have said Bethesda at first, because they did a great job with Doom's reboot for 2016. They did a good job with Wolfenstein the New Order and Old Blood. But after playing the Colossus one, the one that came out last year, I don't want Bethesda touching it. I hated that game for various reasons. So yeah, no. This may be a bit controversy. I'd like to see Raven Software touch it, because for anyone that, you know, just thinks of Call of Duty as soon as I mentioned Raven Software did a great job on Quake 4. Raven Software did a great job with Singularity, and I don't care what anyone says. I've been talking to a friend about this a while, and he tends to agree in a lot of ways. I believe the 2009 Wolfenstein game is arguably, in my opinion, it may be the best Wolfenstein game that was made in a lot of ways. And I'd like to see that team, not the Call of Duty Raven team, that creative team from Raven Software go and do this. You know, say for example, Activision gets a strike, you know, gets to make the deal and go, oh, we've gotten Turok to make a game. Give it to Raven Software, and Raven Software gets, you know, 2 to 3 years to make the game. I think that'd be fantastic. But this brings up a question. Who owns the rights to Turok at the moment? See, as I said, it's based off the 56 comic, which the comic, I believe, is owned by Dark Horse. But who owns the actual franchise itself? Well, I honestly believe that, I remember reading up not too long ago, it's Disney that owns the rights to this series. And if that is true, fucking God help us. Like, I don't want Disney touching this game, because, like, who the hell would want Disney after what they've done to Star Wars? It says the publisher, first appearance, I'm just looking up here just to make sure. It doesn't say, but I believe it's Disney that owns the franchise now. Hopefully not, but because Touchstone, I think, was a Disney, you know, company. So yeah, that's all I can really say, guys. Yeah, so that's what I'd like to see. So honestly, let me know what you think if what I said there, even though it was a little bit, you know, wasn't as big as what my fear one would have been, but, you know, tell me what you think, if you honestly believe that it should be that kind of thing, where Turok has to more or less fight off 2 invading, you know, species. You know, you got your dinosaurs and obviously these marines from another world. But yeah, that's everything, guys. I really hope you enjoy my Turok video, and let us know what you think. It'd be really nice to know if you believe, if you agree, should I say, not believe, if you agree with what I say, if you don't. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and stay tuned for some upcoming videos. This is Private Mittens. Take care, guys, and see you later. Bye.